Can you recognize all 51 state flags of the United States? Some are easy, but others will totally surprise you. Get ready for a fun brain challenge with facts you've never heard before. Let's see how many you can guess. Fun fact: Alabama was the first U.S. state to make Christmas a legal holiday way back in 1836. You know this. Alaska has more coastline than all other U.S. states combined, over 33,000 miles. Fun fact: cutting down a saguaro cactus in Arizona can lead to jail time. Guess this. Arkansas is home to the only active diamond mine in the U.S., where visitors can dig for diamonds. Death Valley, California, is the hottest place on Earth, with a record temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit 56.7 degrees Celsius in 1913. Legendary. Colorado has the highest average elevation of any U.S. state, with over 1,000 Rocky Mountain peaks exceeding 10,000 feet. Fun fact: the first hamburger was served in New Haven, Connecticut, at Lewis's Lunch in 1900. Guess this. Fun fact: Delaware was the first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution on December 7, 1787. Florida is the only state that has two rivers with the same name, the Withlacoochee River in central Florida and another in the north. Georgia produces more peanuts than any other state in the U.S. Great job! You've already guessed 10 flags. Ready for the next challenge? Take a deep breath. The next flags will be even trickier. Let's continue. Legendary. Fun fact: New Hampshire was the first state to declare independence from England, 6 months before the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Fun fact: Hawaii is the only U.S. state that grows coffee commercially. Idaho produces about 1/3 of all potatoes grown in the United States. Legendary. Fun fact: the world's first skyscraper was built in Chicago, Illinois, in 1885. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is the largest sporting venue in the world. Fun fact: Iowa is the only state whose eastern and western borders are entirely formed by rivers. Legendary. Fun fact: the geographic center of the 48 contiguous states is in Kansas. Kentucky is home to the world-famous Kentucky Derby, held annually since 1875. Louisiana has parishes instead of counties, the only U.S. state to do so. Maine is the only U.S. state with a one-syllable name. What would you choose? Never Fly Again or subscribe to our channel? Fun fact: the U.S. national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, was written in Maryland during the War of 1812. Fun fact: the first American university, Harvard, was founded in Massachusetts in 1636. Guess this. Fun fact: Michigan has the longest freshwater shoreline in the United States. Fun fact: Minnesota is known as the land of 10,000 lakes, though it actually has over 11,000. Fun fact: the Mississippi River, one of the longest rivers in the world, is named after the state. Fun fact: the Gateway Arch in St. Louis is the tallest man-made monument in the U.S. Fun fact: Montana has more cows than people, nearly 3 times as many. Fun fact: Nebraska is home to the only unicameral, single-house, state legislature in the U.S. You know this. Fun fact: over 80% of Nevada is owned by the federal government. Fun fact: the first baseball game was played in Hoboken, New Jersey, in 1846. 30 flags down, and you're still here? You're amazing! But now it's level 2. Are you ready? New Mexico has more PhDs per capita than any other U.S. state, thanks to its scientific institutions. Fun fact: more people live in New York City than in 40 entire U.S. states. Fun fact: the Wright brothers made the first powered flight in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in 1903. North Dakota grows more sunflowers than any other state in the U.S. Ohio is known as the mother of presidents. 8 U.S. presidents were born there. Fun fact: the world's first parking meter was installed in Oklahoma City in 1935. Oregon has the only state flag in the U.S. with different designs on each side. You know this. Fun fact: the U.S. Constitution was written and signed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in 1787. Rhode Island is the smallest U.S. state, but has one of the longest names: State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations. South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union in 1860. Fun fact: Mount Rushmore, featuring the carved faces of 4 U.S. presidents, is located in South Dakota. Tennessee is the birthplace of blues, country, and rock and roll. Elvis Presley recorded his first songs here. Texas was an independent nation, the Republic of Texas, from 1836 to 1845. Utah is home to the Great Salt Lake, which is salter than the ocean. Vermont was the first state to join the U.S. after the original 13 colonies. Fun fact: 8 U.S. presidents were born in Virginia, more than any other state. Washington is the only U.S. state named after a president. West Virginia separated from Virginia during the Civil War to stay with the Union. You know this. Wisconsin is known as America's Dairyland. It produces more cheese than any other state. Wyoming was the first state to grant women the right to vote in 1869. You've made it through all 51 flags. Impressive. Did you guess them all? Or did some surprise you? Either way, your brain deserves a high five. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun challenges, facts, and brain adventures. See you in the next quest, Explorer.